Today we're going to begin with our level 2, target 2. Still evaluating algebraic expressions, but this time we have to work towards being able to generate or make equivalent, which is equal, algebraic expressions. So you may have to make them, you may have to just recognize that two of them are equivalent or about the same. They might look differently, but we can make them amount to the same thing. Kind of like 2 dimes and a nickel are equivalent to a quarter because they're both worth 25 cents. The level 2 has a lot of vocabulary. So I'm going to read through this and I'm just going to start highlighting important things. Not that you're going to remember everything right now, but we're going to keep working on remembering these terms. An algebraic expression contains at least one variable and sometimes numbers and operations. Remember, the mathematical operations that we're using is add, subtract, multiply, divide. A term of an algebraic expression is a number, variable, or product of numbers and variables that is being added or subtracted. That's very important as we move through this. It'll make more sense as we start to work with them. Like terms are terms that have the same variable. They're also raised to the same power. We'll talk about that too. Trying to change colors with the words here. The coefficient is the number being multiplied by the variable. And I was going to say last, but there's still more. A constant is a number that stands by itself without a variable. Constants are like terms as well because they do not contain any variables. Oh, constants are like terms. Sorry, I misread that. So if you have more than one constant in there, you could put them together. Factors are numbers that are multiplied to create a product. All terms have factors. Okay, and what's a term? It's a number, variable, and product of numbers and variables. So we're going to dive into this. I am going to actually take a look and start just highlighting some of these with the color that they are. So this 2 is a coefficient, 5 is a coefficient, and 4 are coefficients because they are being multiplied to a variable or a letter. See if I can spell this correctly. Okay, let's see. I did a constant is that weird green. Let's see if I can find it again. This is a constant. Notice how it does not have any variables around it. So a term, this is very important. I'm going to go red. I'm going to circle the terms. It's a number, a variable, don't have any variables by itself, or a product of numbers and variables. Well, we know when the 4 and the y are being smashed together, they are being multiplied to each other. So that is a product of numbers and variables. Okay, we can see the addition and subtraction throughout. All of the red circled items are terms. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. Okay, factors are numbers that are multiplied to create a product. So 2 and x are factors. 5 and x are factors. 4 and y are factors. 3 is a factor. Because think about it. Could I rewrite this with multiplication if I needed to? Sure, I could do 3 times 1 if I needed to. I could change this to 2 times 2 and make that. Okay? So this is all kind of lower level. Some of it is kind of tricky and hard to understand, but as you work with it, it's going to slowly make more sense. Okay, I think I talked about everything except for like terms. I'm going to show you more about that on a later slide, but I will go to yellow here real quick and show you that a like term would be x and x here. See how they're the same variable? So we could add the 2x's and the 5x's and get a total of 7x, which we will work on at a later time. Let's go ahead and fill in some spaces here as we are thinking about all those vocabulary words. We're going to use 8 plus 5x and 8 minus 5x as an example. First, we're going to identify the terms in each algebraic expression. So in the first one, we see that 8 and 5x are the terms. And then in the second one, 8, oops, I don't know why I just put that. I don't need to put the minus sign. Let's erase that. 8 and 5x. So do you see how they have the same terms? Identify the operation between each term. Well, the first one is addition. The second one is subtraction. Where are the coefficients? Remember, the coefficients are what's being multiplied to the variable. So we can see that they are 5. For each term listed above, list its factors. Okay, so we're going back up here to the terms. Here's the terms. Okay, so I'm going to start out with this 8 and 5x. Okay, so my first term is, let's see, I kind of want to switch colors here. The term is, I'm going to start with 8. Okay, so I'm thinking about factors. Well, that could be 8 times 1, could be 2 times 4. Okay, different ways that we can multiply and make the same number. Okay, my next term up there is going to be 5 and x. Well, what are factors of that going to be? 1 times 5, right? And then we have it's being multiplied times the x. Okay, now the next one, 8 and minus 5x. We have the same exact terms. Okay, so really the answers are going to be exactly the same. Okay. What other ways can we show multiplication? This is just a review because we're going to have to be able to recognize these. Just like we need to be able to recognize that when I have the 5 and the x smashed together, it's multiplication. So we can show the dot. I know some of you brought up the little star, the asterisk. Parentheses means multiply. What other ways can we show division? Well, we have the division. And we have the fraction bar. That's a super important way that you need to be able to recognize division. Okay, now let's see if we can get this right. We're going to fill in the blanks using our knowledge of the key terms to break down the meaning of this expression. Okay, this expression is the difference. Do you see why it says difference? Okay, how many terms? 1, 2. In the first term, there is, do you see the first term? 1 factor. The factor is what is it? When we look at that, we're looking at all of these words, okay? So I know that it's a constant because it is not with a variable. In the second term, there is a product of 2 factors. This is a product of 3 and x. That's 2 factors. The factors are 3 and x. In that term, the factor in what is also the coefficient? It's the 3. What is the variable? That is the x. Okay, now let's see. We're going to walk through this next one together too. First, it's asking us there are how many terms. So I'm going to count these. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 terms. In the first term, there is a product of, so we're looking at 7b. How many factors? There's the 7 and the b. The factors are blank and blank. What are they? 7 and B, where blank is the variable. Which one of those is the variable? B. And blank is the coefficient, 7. In the second term, okay, I'm going to switch colors so you can see this. The second term, there is a product of 2 factors as well. The factors are 9 and x. In that term, the factor 9 is also the coefficient. We're learning how to use all of these vocabulary words. And the variable is x. Okay, I want you to do the third and fourth terms by yourself. Just keep going. Pause the video. I'm going to go ahead and keep going. Okay, now this is some practice, and what you need to know to be successful on here is that you have to carefully read what's happening here, okay? This is a question, this is a question, and this is a question. Okay, they're multiple choice. Which statement correctly describes the expression? Circle your answer. The expression contains 5 terms. The expression contains a term with a coefficient of 6. The expression shows the product of 2 factors, or the expression shows the sum of 2 expressions. So the first thing that I want to say is let's look for some vocabulary. Terms. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. So we know that's not true because that says there's 5. Is there a coefficient of 6? Well, let's highlight the coefficients. Remember, they are the numbers being multiplied times the variables. So there isn't one that's a 6. We've got 13 and 5. Shows the product of 2 factors. What they're calling here a factor is this whole entire thing in their parentheses and this. Okay, is there a product happening there? Is there multiplication happening between these two things? No, it is a sum because I see addition. So the answer must be this one. Okay, now I want you to process these last two just like I did. Okay, take your time, raise your hand, and let me check. Pause the video because I'm going to keep going and show you one more main idea that's foundational. Like terms have the same variable or letter and they're raised to the same power. So we have x and x. And if you'll notice, there is no power, so we assume they're both to the 1. So I can take this and rewrite that, and then I can actually put these together because it's like having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's, and then I'm putting 2 more with it. So I have a total of 7 x's. And then the 9 is a constant. It has to stay by itself. Okay. I love this because it's color coded. So we can see the 7 Q's and the minus 3 Q's. You want to keep that sign with the term. Okay. If I have 7 and I take away 3, I know that's 4 Q's that I have left over. Okay. Let's do the pink. I have 5 R's and then I add 5 more R's. So that's going to be 5R plus 5R. Well, 5 plus 5 is 10. I got a total of 10 R's all together. Okay, I'm going to do the orange. Do you notice that the orange is all by itself? There's no other orange. So we can't put our plus 3S with anything else. But I do see 2 blue items. So let's see here. We have minus 4 and minus 3. That's like having 1, 2, 3, 4 minuses and 1, 2, 3 more. So how many is that all together that are minuses? Looks like 7 to me. There you go. Now, there's more practice on the next slide. So I want you to read the directions, highlight the terms that are the same, and then just rewrite them. Okay, that's what I was doing right here. Okay, so work on that. That'll be all the level 2 stuff for step 1, and then we have some distributive property to review before we get into our level 3. Good luck.